September has been National Suicide Prevention Month, and we're taking a moment to talk about this incredibly important topic tonight. The CDC reported in June that a fourth of young adults and more than 20% of frontline workers had considered suicide within the previous month. We reached out to the vice president of the mission engagement at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention on how you or your loved ones can get some help. Here's Lorenzo again.
It's a topic that many can find hard to discuss if someone you know might have had thoughts of taking their own life. Dr. Doreen Marshall from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention helps people talk to loved ones about suicide. So, what signs should you look out for to have this conversation in the first place? Dr. Marshall says it all comes down to changes in behavior, like sounding hopeless about life or feeling more sad or angry than usual. Also, a person isolating themselves from people or activities they used to enjoy.
The person starts looking like they're wrapping things up, right? So they're giving things away. They may be saying things that feel out of character, like, I just always wanted you to know you were a good friend to me. Things that sound like they're not planning to be around. If you're thinking about someone and you're worried about them, chances are you have something to be worried about.
If you've started to notice these signs, how can you start the conversation? What should you say?
The only way we can tune into someone's suicide risk is by asking them directly and reassuring them that help is available for them. Many people who struggle with thoughts of suicide are struggling in silence.
Of course, asking someone you care about if they're thinking of suicide is a painful question. And it might be hard to know what to do after you've asked. What should your next steps be if the person says, yes, they have had thoughts of suicide?
What we know is good to avoid is advice giving. It's much more important to listen and say, I don't know how this might work out, but I'm here with you. I'm here to help you. We're in it together.
What are some of the most common misconceptions when it comes to having this conversation?
Sometimes in the uncomfortableness of the moment, sometimes people might try and brush it off or make a joke or even just say, oh, don't feel like that. And for the person who's struggling, they actually need to hear the opposite, that it's okay that you feel that way. I think the biggest myth that we deal with is that if you talk about suicide, somehow you're going to put a thought in a person's head that wasn't suicidal before, or you're going to somehow make it worse. And we know there's no evidence of that. In fact, the evidence is to the contrary, that opening up that door for dialogue really does help.
If you or someone you know is struggling during this time, you can always call 800-273-TALK for immediate assistance. There's also a free crisis text line to be connected with a trained professional at 741-741.